I was just watching this video and he mentioned eye contact.
One of my colleagues told me about a situation where a school's special educational needs coordinator, Senko, had written a target for an autistic child entitled eye contact, stating that the child needs to maintain eye contact when having conversations with peers and staff.
Exactly.
My colleague explained to the Senko how inappropriate this was, and the response from her was that everyone needs to have eye contact in order to show respect, and that you're listening and interested in what's being said.
Exactly.
That was from Nick Chown's book, Understanding and Evaluating Autism Theory, Chapter 9, page 301.
Therefore, I decided to make a video. Eye contact in wild animals. For most animals, direct eye contact means challenge or threat. Direct eye contact with animals that view you as prey, like mountain lions, sharks, lions, could potentially deter them from attacking you. Good to know, right? So humans actually are the only species that does this intense eye-gazing, eye contact. But autistics don't. Is it unnatural? I don't think so. Because, again, wild animals don't do that.
Now the funny thing about a primate is they're all about eyes. Now there's a baboon just over my right hand side, or your left hand side. And the funny thing is, I can get relatively close to him, you see. As long as I keep my head forwards in my direction and my eyesight forwards, I don't see him as much as a predator or as a threat to this animal. So I can actually keep moving in on distance, getting closer, and he's actually not going to move. He's going to sit there, he's probably just playing around with the dirt, looking for insects, looking for roots, and he hasn't yet seen me as a threat. But as soon as I turn around, it's a different story. As soon as he sees my eyes, watch. As soon as I look at this animal, he starts getting nervous. Any sort of predator that makes eye contact with an animal like this starts getting nervous. Once again, I can move backwards. He's going to keep looking up into the trees. I can move backwards again. He's fine. He's not moving. But as soon as I turn around, bang, make eyesight, boom, he wants to move away.
So even for domestic dogs, they rarely make eye contact with each other. In most cases, dogs lock eyes for less than 2 seconds at a time, and they're careful about when they let it happen. If you're at a dog park, it's common for 2 dogs to briefly make eye contact as a cue to start playing. Animals of many species, including dogs, often perceive eye contact as threat.
It starts with the dog barking to scare off what it perceives as an intruder. If you're confronted by an aggressive dog, always remain calm and avoid direct eye contact.
The fact that individuals with autism avoid eye contact has been widely researched. At first, it was thought that the failure of eye contact resulted from lack of interest. That's not true. We know that. However, studies revealed that avoiding the practice is not a sign of not caring. On the contrary. This was also found in the statements of individuals with autism who had difficulty in making eye contact. For individuals with typical development, avoiding eye contact is generally deemed as a sign of social indifference. That's the problem, yeah. So they misunderstand that. However, many autistic people indicate that eye contact causes them discomfort and stress. Yes. For me, it's about 2 to 3 seconds and then no more. It's too intense. Too personal. It feels like an intrusion. And it also depends totally on the person. There are people, they have a very nice vibe. They make you relax. For example, Janina Fischer. She is a trauma therapist, and when you listen to her, she has a very gentle way of explaining things. It's about the prosody. Prosody is actually an ancient Greek word that originally meant a song accompanied by music or the particular tone or accent given to an individual syllable. But nowadays, prosody means intonation, tone, stress, and rhythm. You hear that when somebody is stressed. You hear that in their voice. You can hear when somebody is angry. It's just very, very different from when a person is calm and relaxed. They speak in a completely different way. If you have ever listened to somebody tuning their guitar or violin, you can hear when the string is tight. This will be a high pitch, or when it is loose, it will be a lower pitch. So I think when a person is angry or stressed, this will be the high strung tone. You just hear it, it's harder, it's different. It has this metallic ring to it, and it's not comfortable. It makes you shudder. So, I don't want any eye contact with such a person. It's about hearing safety in a voice. If you hear that, then the eye contact will be rather gentle. Safety is a relational experience. Safety is experienced in and between people. According to Stephen Porges, the evolutionary path from reptile to mammal led to the emergence of the need for cooperation in species to support the achievement of social collective benefits and survival. They evolved extensive neural regulation over muscles that enabled social communication and gesture. The social engagement system, which connected humans to other humans, became linked with the capacity to regulate the activation of the sympathetic branch of autonomic nervous system, enabling fight-flight actions of protection. The myelinated vagus regulates the striated muscles of the head and face, including emotional expressiveness, eye gaze, listening, and prosody, which are part of the social engagement system. They influence and shape our physiological state through interpersonal communication. They calm us down by connecting with us through displaying their regulated physiological state as a cue that signals interpersonal safety. The softness in their tone of voice, the way their head and face turns toward us, inviting closeness, and the comforting look in their eyes serve as powerful supports in shutting down our threat response system. And I think that autistics are just way more sensitive to those signals. they feel it with their sixth sense. So sometimes you don't even need to look at a person, you just feel it. And then, of course, you don't really want to look at the person when there is a threat vibe coming your way. Those nervous system people, they have trained themselves to get a very kind vibe across, so that their clients are not triggered or stressed out, because especially in trauma therapy, it's between one nervous system to the other nervous system. If your nervous system is agitated, you will immediately send that across the room to your client. Those nervous system therapists, they know that, and they really work hard to have themselves a regulated nervous system. And that's way more important than anything they say. And therefore their gaze will also be very soft and non-threatening. For an autistic, possibly eye contact with such a person will be way easier than with a person who is angry or stressed with a dysregulated nervous system. It really, for me, depends on the person. But usually with average people, I can hold eye contact for 2 to 3 seconds and that's it. I really don't like to make eye contact with this person. Do you like making eye contact with those guys? Not so comfortable, right? Possibly this has to do with the mirror neurons. I pick up the vibe anyway. I don't need to reinforce it through eye contact, right? Studies looked into the source of the behavior to determine whether it is caused by the sensation itself or due to social delays. Now it gets interesting. It was discovered by the researchers that a part of the brain activated by eye contact, which is called the subcortical system, was abnormally activated in those on the autism spectrum. This area of the brain is responsible for triggering babies' natural attraction to faces or help them turn towards faces they find familiar. Subcortical system also helps people perceive emotions. In the studies they conducted, researchers had people with and without autism look at images of faces. They tracked the gaze of the participants. Participants either freely looked at the faces or they were restricted to seeing only the eye area of the images. While looking at the entire face, the brain activities of both groups were found to be similar. However, when autistic individuals were shown only the eye area, their subcortical brain system was overactivated. Yeah, and now we have the mask mandate. And this brings with it a huge problem for many autistics because you see only the eyes. I feel this is so intense. For me, I prefer to look at the lower part of the face so I can see if a person smiles or is angry, because I trained myself a little bit in facial expression, and eyes to me just don't show that properly. They just feel intense, no matter what. Now with the mask wearing, you cannot read those expressions anymore. And for me this is really difficult. And it's stressful and triggering. Just saying. I hope that we soon will get rid of the stupid mask wearing for everybody. Sorry, I digress. So, back to this study. Lack of eye contact in autistic individuals was found to be a response to an uncomfortable sensation the individual felt. This behavior is determined to be a way to decrease the unpleasing excessive arousal that is caused by this part of the brain. There you have it. So, don't ever force any autistic to make eye contact.